ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Thursday, July 16th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll have more reaction today from Sunbelt Conference Media Days. Today's the West Side, and Tyler Kennett, who's on hand covering the event, is going to join us about 5:30 to give us a recap of what happened today with the West Division coaches and players. Also, we're going to make time for you. Our text line is open and is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's the number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. A couple other interesting things I want to get into with you, and I really want to try to break these down over the next few days, but we're going to start today. Is the numbers are out as far as the licensing and corporate sponsorship revenue that the Thundering Herd brought in, the 2025 licensing and corporate sponsorship revenue. And a lot of outlets have picked up on this. We appreciate the work of Matt Brown from Extra Point. He has done the work. We're going to look at some of the numbers. I can give you the surface stuff right now. And again, I'm sure this isn't the full picture, but if you're looking at sponsorship and license revenue for all the teams in the Sun Belt, Marshall does very well. Marshall's third right now. That's not bad. $3,277,739. The only two teams that had numbers higher reported, Appalachian State, $3,829. I'm sorry, $3,829,340. And then Old Dominion, and we knew Old Dominion had money, $3,956,783. That is what has been reported. So as far as the Thundering Herd is concerned, Marshall does well in the Sun Belt with its peer institutions. Now, what does this really mean? What do these numbers tell us? What do they really mean as far as what the Thundering Herd is doing compared to other institutions? And again, if you look at these numbers, this isn't ticket sales. This isn't media rights. This is something different. This isn't concessions. This isn't that number. This isn't student fees. This isn't direct institutional support. This isn't money from guaranteed games. None of that. This is royalties. This is advertising. This is licensing. This is corporate sponsorships. And so when someone like a Ryan Crisp comes on the program, you know, you've got herd hospitality going on now. Also, you see some of the new things that Marshall's doing. You've got the Dutch Miller deck. You've got some different other opportunities, facilities that are being opened up for use outside of the normal game day operation. So you have a lot of things that are going on. Marshall's restructured a little bit. But this is, and the description in the story, it's a great description, so I'm going to read it word for word. This is a catch-all category that includes everything from the licensing checks schools earn from their IP appearing in video games, and that's EA Sports College Football, to the returns from every T-shirt and bumper sticker sold with their logo, to the ads you see on scoreboards and sideline ribbon boards, to every official, this is quote, official laxative of the Big State University Tigers ad read you hear on radio broadcast. And I encourage you to go over to extrapointsmb.com to read the entire story. You'll see the complete list of licensing royalties revenue. And the big schools, University of Texas at Austin, almost $52 million. Ohio State University, almost $43 million. Michigan is over $35 million. And the list goes on. And it starts to drop after a little bit. Now, there's some big numbers here. We get into the single digits in the millions. West Virginia University, I'm sure everyone's interested in that. $9,550,743. And then you start getting into University of Kentucky, $7 million plus. University of Cincinnati, almost $7 million. And the list goes on. And you can see where everyone's at. Marshall University is not terrible when it comes to the like institutions. Now, of course, there's a potential for more revenue if you're the Ohio State University than if you are Marshall University. You just know that to be a fact. But Marshall's actually quite comparable in this metric to, say, East Carolina and Utah State. Kennesaw State actually is over $3 million. North Texas was $3.5 million. Just some institutions that are right in the range of the Thundering Herd. And then you look at the very bottom. There are some that are $0 reporting, but again, don't hold that metric to be true. There's just probably some things that are done a little differently as far as the accounting's concerned. But do you think that VMI only brought in $186,144? $186,144. That's a low number right there. University of Maine, $40,000. How's that tie into the Sun Belt? Well, how'd the Sun Belt do in this? What was it that maybe the Sun Belt was able to do compared to one another? Well, I told you the top three. Georgia State is fourth, just going by this metric, this revenue metric. Again, it's a sponsorship and license revenue. $2,689,383. And then it drops off a little bit. JMU, $1,760,815. But again, this is sponsorship and license revenue. South Alabama, almost $2 million, 1.6. Georgia Southern, 1.5 and change. Coastal Carolina, 1.4. ULM, 841,376. Southern Miss. You remember Southern Miss, the big one, right? Southern Miss to the top. A lot of excitement with the Southern Miss program. A lot of excitement with Charles Huff coming and bringing that excitement and starting to get the donors excited about the product again and reawakening. And again, you can look at all of this, and accounting is different everywhere where these dollars go. But if you look at just the sponsorship and license revenue, which was reported, $684,102 at Southern Miss. Louisiana Tech coming into the league, $655,249. Troy, $620,660. The Ragin' Cajuns, I was surprised by this number, $398,883. And then Arkansas State, $278,656. So these are the numbers reported, sponsorship and license revenue. Now, I qualify this by saying again, you don't necessarily have the entire picture when it comes to what revenue might not be in this category. There might be some different data points. There might be different accounting. And so this number is maybe not truly reflective. There might be some more dollars that are out there that isn't getting reported. And again, I don't think it's necessarily true that some of these brands are not bringing in that much money. But if you look at the brands, it's brand driven. Old Dominion probably has a lot of resources to pull from and pushing its brand. Appalachian State, probably has a lot of resources to pull from when it comes to its brand. And the Thundering Herd is trying to maximize its resources and its opportunities, bringing in more revenue for sponsorship and licensed revenue. I mean, every time you buy a T-shirt, you buy Herd gear, you buy anything, and that goes into this bucket, it's going back to the Thundering Herd. So these are some interesting numbers. We're going to go over these a little bit later on. Also, I've got Tyler Kennett joining us from HD Media. I checked in with him right before we went on the air, and he's got a few interesting things to talk about. He's got a poll to talk about with us. We'll go and get that and get his breakdown on that. And we're going to hear a little bit more from yesterday's stage presentation, some comments from Coach Gibson, also from Carlos Del Rio Wilson. We'll do all of that, and we'll get your text at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Thanks for being a part of today's edition of The Drive right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Give your walls a fresh, updated look with Pittsburgh's Ultra Interior Paint. It's a paint and primer in one that provides a durable, washable finish. Choose from thousands of color options to customize your living space. View our entire selection of paint products today on Menards.com. Plus, check out the weekly flyer to view all of our great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, you hungry for a win? There's always something good at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Kick off your week on Tuesday with our double play. Pick two of your favorite pasta and pizza combos for the price of one. Get over the hump with Bangin' Wednesday and score $3 off the Hall of Fame Cafe's famous Bang Bang Shrimp. Thursday, it's Buds and Boneless Singo Bingo. Take the mic on Saturday for karaoke night. Wrap it all up with Sunday specials. It's all good all week and only at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe.
Hey, it's Lex and Terry, K&B Pest Control, locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the tri-state.
Man, these guys are great. They do residential and commercial, indoor, outdoor, free estimates. These guys are the best, I'm telling you.
This is when the critters come out. High customer ratings, satisfaction guaranteed, large fleet, crew, meaning same-day appointments, and quick service.
All you got to do is pick up your phone and call Patrick, the owner. Okay, that's what you got to do. Or Becca. They're standing by to take care of you guys. It's KNBPestControl.com online, and give them a call, man. They got a great Facebook page. Go ahead and like it. They got a phone number. We'll give you that. Why not? It's free. 304-523-4281.
Or go to KNBPestControl.com. They will tell you what everything looks like, what you're looking for, if you're getting a pest problem, and get on top of it. They're the best. Make sure you call Patrick once again, who is very passionate about his pest control, or Becca. KNB Pest Control. They'll kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hometown Chevrolet is your home for the new 30-mile-per-gallon Chevy Trax SUV with 0% financing available. They also have 0% financing for a full 5 years on new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s. Plus, no payment for 90 days and free oil changes for life. Their used vehicles are priced to move with the payments you want. From low APRs to credit rebuilding, they've got you covered. Together, let's drive. Hometown Chevrolet, Waverly, Ohio, the heartbeat of America. Everything you need right here at home. Offer ends 8/3/26. You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Welcome back to today's edition of The Drive. Still to come, we're going to hear from Tyler Kennett, HD Media. He's been covering Sunbelt Conference Media Days. He's also participated in Media Poll. And, of course, We've got some basketball news to get into as well. We'll save some of that with Tyler coming up. That's at 5:30. Until then, we've got some comments from Marshall head football coach Tony Gibson, also Carlos Del Rio Wilson, as Conference USA lost a member, Louisiana Tech. It's in the league now. We'll hear about that with Tyler in just a few minutes as they were on the stage today. But we're going to focus mainly on what happened yesterday with Coach Gibson and, of course, with Carlos. You know, you're coming into this as a second-year coach now. So you've kind of got an idea of what it's like, what you need to do, what can you do to make the whole process a little bit better going into year 2 of this. And Coach talked about just how much smoother prep has really been as we go into the second year of his reign as the head coach.
Yeah, that's the number one question I got today. What's different about last year and this year? Everything. The hours of sleep I get at night to, just the way we manage things. And it's so much smoother right now. Obviously, we kept a good core of our players, returning guys there. Again, a year ago, I was standing up here telling you I had 75 new players. So it was hard. It was a hard year. It was a learning year all the way around. Made a lot of mistakes in year 1 with just a lot of different things. And, it was a year that I have to rebuild this thing and get it the way that I wanted. And I was able to do that starting in January. And again, with the support of our staff, our administration, and all those things. So it's much easier right now to operate day to day.
Absolutely. You've got a year under your belt. You're not trying to really rebuild your team. You're trying to maintain your team the way that everyone else maintains a team. And that was something that Coach Gibson addressed. The transfer portal victimized Marshall, and then it victimized Marshall again. And now you only have one portal window a year, and Coach Gibson's definitely on board with that.
I think that's the best rule that has came across our desk in a long, long time, with one portal window. You build your team. People want the fans, the media. You want to get to know who your team is, and having 2 portal windows, you have kids on campus for 4 or 5 months. You start to get to know them, and they get offered a little more money and run away. I mean, it's not what college football is all about. So I think there's some other things that they could do to help it even more. But I am very, very pleased with the rule with just one portal window, and it allows you to build your team.
Another topic that Coach Gibson talked about a little bit is about the development of where this team's at and just the development in general of the program.
Yeah, I think that, the truth, some people, they want to hear certain things or don't want to, it's tough love. I want to hear the truth so I know how to fix it. And that's my expectation with them. I don't hold anything back. I'm going to make mistakes as a coach. I'm going to make mistakes as a father. I'm going to make mistakes as a normal citizen, but you have to be accountable for your mistakes, and somebody's got to tell you the truth. I don't like beating around the bush. The kids know exactly how I feel. Every day after practice, when we call them up, I tell them the truth. In team meetings, I tell them the truth. I tell them what needs fixed, how we're going to fix it, and we have a plan moving forward. And some kids, they don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear how great they are. Well, if that's what they're wanting to hear, they don't need to come to Marshall, because I tell our kids the truth all the time. I tell our staff the truth, and I tell myself the truth. And again, I've made a lot of mistakes, but we're going to be able to fix it together and have a plan for that.
Also some changes, coaching staff. That's one thing that Coach talked about at the start of his podium time. He has 16 new faces on offense, 7 returning starters. He's got 17 new faces on defense, also 7 returning starters. And, of course, some slight adjustments when it comes to his staff, and he broke that down. So you kind of got a feeling of where he thinks his team's going to be with some of the changes and some of the things he's kept the same.
talk a little bit more. Our offensive staff, Coach Rod Smith, our offensive coordinator, going into year 2, thought he did a really, really good job a year ago of getting our team ready. And they kept us in a bunch of games. So we did not lose any staff members on the offensive side of the ball, which creates great continuity with our team, especially on the offensive side. Defensive staff, completely revamped staff. Hired Brad Lambert as my defensive coordinator. This is Brad's 3rd stint at Marshall. He was there back in with Coach Donnan when they won a national championship. Was there with Doc a few years ago, and then came back. So, Brad's been a head coach, been a defensive coordinator at the Power 4 level, brings great experience. And on his staff is Dean Hood, has been a head coach at 2 different places, Murray State and Eastern Kentucky. Been a defensive coordinator at Wake Forest. He actually coached me, so that tells you how old he is. And then Chip West. Chip West is our corner coach. Chip was with Brad and Dean at Wake Forest at one time. Was at Charlotte with Brad. So there's a common theme here. These guys have all worked together. They understand the scheme of what they want to do, how they want to do it, and which is a relief for myself. And then Anthony Leonard is our defensive line coach. Anthony's a former player of mine that I recruited. He GA'd for me when I was a coordinator a few years back, and so he's our newest hire.
Tony Gibson, his comments on the podium during Sunbelt Conference Media Days. We're going to hear a little bit more about how the West Side went. We've got Tyler Kennett, who's checking in from the event in New Orleans. We're going to talk to him when we continue. We're also going to hear from you. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up in today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Lex, I got a question for you about our friends over at K&B Pest Control.
Shoot.
Do you think they'll eliminate my mother-in-law?
I think so.
She's in the house, kind of pesky.
From what I understand, they'll kill for your business, so you might want to have a talk.
No, these guys are great, man. Locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the tri-state area. Free estimates, highly skilled staff. There's specialized training and inspections and solutions. So no matter what's going on, they'll figure it out. They'll find out where these pests are coming from, and they will eliminate them.
Yep, and you can even do comparisons with their Facebook page. They got real pest pics. This is when the critters start coming out, Terrence, so if you're seeing problems like they have on their Facebook page, call 304-523-4281.
Go ahead and ask for Patrick or Becca. They will hook you up. We promise you it's KNBPestControl.com. Go ahead and hit them up online as well. K&B Pest Control, they will kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
Summer starts here. It's Moses Auto Mall of Huntington 9th Street Live every Friday night in Huntington. Presented by Michelob Ultra, White Claw, Big Timber, and Country Boy Brewing. Friday, July 17th, it's Collins Career Center Night featuring William Matheny with Charlie Overman. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy 9th Street libations from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station, featuring Tito's, Milagro Tequila, Rebel Bourbon, High Noon, and Lucky One. The after-show party takes place at Jerk Riley's at Pullman Square. Mark your calendar for August 7th for ONA. The Thundering Herd Rally with Madhouse is August 14th. Sponsored by Wendy's, Huntington Beverage Center, Sods, Apex Tech, The Great Outdoors Marine, Village Caregiving, Thoroughbred Express Wash, the City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Network Arena, and Kendrick Communications.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-553-7217 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-553-7217. That's 800-553-7217. What do you have to lose? Call 800-553-7217. Again, 800-553-7217.
The fireworks may be over, but the savings are still going strong at Home Builders Supply. Now through July 25th, save 20% off all furniture, 15% off lighting and ceiling fans, and 10% off all in-stock tile. It's the perfect time to update your home while saving big. Visit Home Builders Supply at 1560 Diedrich Boulevard in Russell or 101 State Route 1 in Greenup for these incredible deals. Don't miss your chance to shop local and save big. But hurry, these savings end July 25th. Home Builders Supply. Everything you need for your home.
Summer's here, and it's the perfect time to come to Sue's Junk and Antique Mall down in West Huntington. 400 vendors, and the store is changing every day. From ball cards, vintage Christmas, Blinko, concrete geese, collectibles, and so much more. And don't forget about the outside parking lot sales Wednesday through Sundays. You can come and set up for $10 a day, free on Wednesdays. Want to shop from the comfort of your couch? Sue's has an online Facebook sale every Monday night at 6 p.m. 200 plus items in an hour. Sue's Junk, 459 Camden Road, open 7 days a week. Sue's Junk and Antique Mall, where your odds and ends become your new favorite gems.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with this Thursday edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I want to welcome back for a third day in a row. He's becoming regular. We might just invite him into the studio and he can have a second seat with the show. It's Tyler Kennett from HD Media, who is in New Orleans covering the Sun Belt Conference meetings. East was yesterday, West is today. And, of course, what we alluded to yesterday, Tyler, was that the West Division was completely different than the East Division, sort of the culture, the media, everything. You know, what was your early impression of the day and maybe what stood out to you?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Walked around New Orleans right now, so I'm going to find a spot to sit, tell you about it. But, I felt like the West was a lot of fun. A lot of my, one-on-ones were earlier in the day, so I got a chance to talk to everybody again. I thought it was pretty fun. You know, it's kind of interesting because you have the one new head coach and Coach Anderson for Southern Miss, and everybody else has been there, you know, so it was felt pretty casual, you know, just I think with Coach Vincent from ULM, I literally just walked up to him and was like, "You good to go?" And he was like, "Yeah." So that was funny. But, you know, I got to talk to some people from like South Alabama and Southern Miss and some guys like that for lunch and everything. I don't know if there were a whole lot of people left from the East, but I could be wrong. I didn't stay really around to hang out with everybody, though. I kind of just did my thing and left because it's cool to meet everybody, though. There were some of the coaches I hadn't had a chance to talk to before and all that good stuff.
What did you find maybe that stood out the most as far as anything, you know, the West, everybody thinks that they're going to win. Same with the East. So, you know, that's the basic ground zero. Everybody thinks they've got a great team. They got a good team. Can't wait to get out there, show you. You know, did anything maybe stand out to you or, you know, anything that, you know, maybe you weren't expecting happen today if you were trying to explain what you heard from all these coaches?
Sure. Yeah, I talked to, I think I said yesterday the conversation I was looking forward to is Jared Parker from Troy. And that was a fun conversation. We talked a lot about he coached at Marshall and coached at WVU. So we had a little bit of a, meeting of the minds of like, you get a taste of the East this week with talking to me. I think I was probably the only guy that asked him about some of that stuff. He's from Louisa. So talked about how he got started at Raceland. And he was just so well-spoken about Huntington. You know, he met his wife there. They went on their first date there. And we talked a lot about that and what he's become, you know, as he has moved on and is now at Troy. And I was just impressed by what he was saying about their team. I mean, obviously the two guys that he brought, and Crenshaw, the punter, and Donnie Smith, the defensive player of the year for the preseason, and Crenshaw was the special teams player of the year for the preseason. So that's a pretty star-studded lineup. You know, like retention seems good for them. That would probably be my favorite among the folks I talked to today. A lot of people just think Troy is not necessarily like in the clubhouse leading or anything like that, but they have a lot of momentum to build off of and could do it this year. I talked to Butch Jones for a while from Arkansas State. He coached with Coach Gibson at WVU with the Rich Rod, so had a lot of good memories to talk about there. And how they used to battle in practice because, coaching wide receivers and DBs and stuff like that. It was really fun to get to catch up with him. Then Coach Desermo from Louisiana, I was intrigued with what he had to say about the 5-year eligibility because for him, he's very outspoken about recruiting high school, and working in that facet of recruitment. And I think he said between the last 2 years, they have over 40 high school recruits. So he even said on the stage that his goal, if he could, would be to only recruit high school students. And he would eliminate everything but 1 year for a transfer, maybe add one for when you graduate, type of guy. So they have a lot of turnover, but the way that he's built it with having so much continuity with the high school kids and everything else, seems like that's a good place for them and the momentum, and they're getting a lot of respect in the polls as well. So it was good to talk to everybody and get to catch up with everything. Talk with Major Applewhite about playing Marshall on a Tuesday, and he said it best. Even the same thing about Louisiana Tech. He's going to play whoever's put in front of him. So overall, pretty fun. Kind of takeaways for you.
Tyler Kennett's with us, HD Media. Of course, he's going to have extensive write-ups and media as well available on HD's properties, HD Media's properties, of course, his social media accounts as well. So a lot still to come out of all of his interviews, a little bit more than what you get from the stage presentation. So follow Tyler on social for that. Now, you mentioned poll just a few minutes ago. Of course, we know what the East and West Division polls look like with the coaches, but seems like a few members of the Sunbelt Media Corps got together and thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to put out a poll? And Tyler, you were invited to be a part of that.
Yeah, I believe his name is pronounced Dinah Mixon. He covers like mostly Southern Miss down south and everything. Pulled together like a cohort of people to do a poll. It's pretty lopsided for the West, I would say, like most of his contacts and everything, but he reached out to me. I think I'm the only Marshall person voting on it. But voted for, our preseason player of the years for offense and defense, and then the ranking for the team. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it, but, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I think all of the polls that were submitted are actually available online. So if you find it, I think I retweeted it. You can see what everybody voted. I know there were a couple of interesting decisions, a.k.a. player of the year votes for players who are no longer playing football. But other than a couple of hiccups, I felt like it was a decent poll and kind of coherent to what a lot of people are thinking right now.
Totally unofficial, so everybody's got an opinion. Tyler, what was your takeaway from this way too early poll after just getting to talk to the coaches for a day or two? And is there anything you'd change from it, or how'd you rank everyone? What was your thoughts on who was number 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., and why'd you go there?
Gotcha. For my poll, I filled it out the last day we could, which was right before the media days, because I'd actually missed the message the first time and had to kind of phone it in really quick. My top 4 for the East, I put James Madison at 1, probably like most did just because of what happened last year. For me, a lot of preseason polls are kind of respecting what has come from the season before and trying to take that and go with it. I don't know. I think JMU is probably who I would pick now just until someone beats them, so there's that to consider. And then I put Old Dominion second for similar reasons, just of 10 wins last season and bringing back some folks and everything else. And then I put Marshall third. I kind of sandbagged Marshall for my own sake because I didn't want to just feel like I had bias and just throw Marshall at number 1. I wanted to put some thought into it at least to that point. And then I believe at 4, I put Georgia Southern. I think the top 3 is pretty much it, and then the 4 to 7 is a little bit shaky for me. I think Georgia Southern has the most strength among that group. I don't know. That's one of those that's it's interesting to put together because from there you have Georgia State and App State, and Coastal. So I put Coastal and ULM lower just in the sake of last season and also having a new coach and not really knowing what to go from there on it. But I think based on what I've heard, a lot of folks think that Marshall could be a top contender for not just the East, but for the title, which was a little surprising to hear, but I heard it a lot from the weekend, not particularly from coaches, but from the media folks. And then just about every coach I talked to was highly complimentary of Marshall's program and how it's being run right now. So that's kind of where I landed on the East. For the West, I put Troy at number 1. They bring back so much and got there last year. So I feel like that's kind of the place to be for that side of things. Number 2, I put Louisiana just because Coach Desormeaux has shown that he can win it. And I guess I didn't really think too much about the amount of turnover they had, but they have a returning quarterback in Lunch Winfield that I saw in person. He was pretty good, so I put them at number 2. And I believe at number 3, I either put Arkansas State or Louisiana Tech. And the purpose there was, I don't know where to put Louisiana Tech, and I don't know where I would put them now after talking to them today. But they're kind of an oddball in it, and Arkansas State has some good players coming back as well, and Butch Jones is a good coach. So that's kind of where I went. So at the end of the day, you had to pick between your top 2, and I picked Troy to beat James Madison because I think I believe more in that side than James Madison if those two were to match up.
Tyler Kennett's with us, HD Media, so you kind of get a feel of where he's at right now as far as the poll's concerned. And again, this is his opinion. Everything is sort of we're still trying to we're still trying to figure it out. I mean, nobody's holding you to this. I don't know. Is anyone holding you to this? Have you got any beef on social? Okay, good.
No, and I don't care if people are upset about it because what can I do? I talk to coaches and they live and breathe and do this for a living every day, and Coach Ronnie was like, I wouldn't even do a poll until week 4. And so did Butch Jones said that today. So it's one of those things where you ask guys where they feel like they're at, and they're like, everybody says they're feeling good. What are they supposed to say? Oh, we're terrible, and we're not going to do anything, and we're going to go 500. What do you expect the coach to say? So from that perspective, everybody's undefeated team right now. You know what I mean? So there's that to it. And for the player of the years, I went straight with how the Sun Belt did, Carlos and Donnie Smith. So
Tyler Kennett's with its HD Media. He is currently undefeated as well on the season, and he looks to stay that way. While you were at Media Days, we saw the list that came out that highlighted all of the licensing and royalties revenue for 2025. And Marshall seemed to do well. Now, I know that the numbers are probably not the full picture. There's some incompletes. But you look at the numbers for this, and you see that Marshall did well. Not surprised. Surprised. Marshall is like number 3rd right now. If you just look at those numbers, what stood out to you as you were probably glancing over those and trying to get a beat on them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they were found through like FOIAs and stuff. I know that guy does a good job. I think his name's Matt Brown, the one who puts them out and stuff. So kudos to him. He kind of goes and digs for those types of things. I have no way of like confirming any of this stuff unless I were to do it myself. And not that it's a frivolous task, but if someone's already done it, you know what I mean? So if you take them for what they are and consider everything to be 100% correct and everything like that, which I'm not saying don't do, but, you have to pick and choose your battles a little bit sometimes, with information. And Marshall and ODU stuck out to me a little bit because both schools, I wouldn't say that we were kind of talking about this between a few of us of like the big cities, because obviously Georgia State is in Atlanta. You expect theirs to be high, which it was. But then Marshall, like Huntington and Norfolk, not that Norfolk is like a small city by any means, but it's smaller, to be above that is really impressive to me because I was talking to some folks who cover high school stuff in Hattiesburg or just in like the areas around Louisiana and Mobile and all of those. And it was just funny to talk about, like, they asked me where I was from and everything. And I'm like, yeah, like I came from Southern West Virginia and my high school was a graduating class of 25, and it's like, oh, well, I went to a school with 3,000 kids, so it's like the population and those kind of things. I would figure that Marshall was probably high in terms of like the per capita and that kind of thing, which it's a good brand and they've been successful and that kind of stuff really keys into things, I'm sure. So, kudos to them. If that's the way it shakes, whatever that money is being used for, who knows? But to be able to put yourself among the top, end of the league is really impressive.
I think what didn't stand out to me was actually Old Dominion because I feel like that's an affluent region. That's an area where, true. Yeah, I feel like that makes a little bit of sense to me. Appalachian State, that's a passionate fan base, that brand. That didn't really faze me as well. I thought, looking down the list, I thought JMU might be a little bit higher. And again, we got to keep in mind, this is maybe not the full picture because I can't imagine that Louisiana had $398,883 in sponsorship and license revenue. That one, I look at that and go, okay, there's got to be something accounting-wise going on, or it's being reported different. And I keep that in mind. Southern Miss was a few 100,000 shy of $1 million, and they were talking a pretty big game as far as trying to pick that program back up after Coach Huff left Marshall and went down and tried to re-energize that brand.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it includes like boosters and stuff like that too. Like, honestly, who knows? Because most of the schools like report what they generate in revenue from like tickets and all that stuff in like their budget meetings. But obviously, I don't have all that stuff in front of me, so I'm sure all the numbers are probably larger in the grand scheme of things. Nobody can run an athletic program on less than $1 million, let alone 3 or 4. Like these are, 7, 8 digits. Type of things. Maybe not 8, but 7-digit type of numbers that you're talking about when it comes to running the whole ship,
Tyler Kennett's with his HD Media. So those numbers are interesting. We'll have some fun with them, throughout the year. And, of course, I'm interested in what those numbers look like next year, because with Herd Hospitality and some new initiatives and semi-new initiatives that are going on, a renewed push for that type of dollar, also trying to make your spaces work for you outside of actual game day opportunities. The state baseball tournament, for example, is one of those opportunities that, will pay dividends, I think, in the long run for Marshall. And, of course, Tyler, if you want to have a birthday party on the Dutch Miller deck, Ryan Crisp will book you right there if you want that. You want that space.
I could. I don't know if I've got enough friends for that. Honestly, you can come if you want.
I'll come.
But,
absolutely. You know what? We could do the porch. How about that? Instead of the deck, we'll do the porch.
Yeah, we'll take one. We'll take 4. We'll take 1 row of seats in the Joan and just sit there and look at it.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for them to rent out my space up in the basketball arena.
Right.
The Paul Swann Pavilion. I'm waiting for them to actually put some real branding on that.
I swear, I was talking to someone. It was actually Dave Cohen, the voice of Georgia State, and he was talking about how he's like, I've been on his show before. I went there once, and Paul sits up in the concourse. I was like, yep, that's exactly right. So it was a funny shout for you there.
Appreciate him. He's a fun guy. I don't know the West people as much as I do the East, but yeah. Hey, again, we're a group. We're a bonded group. We're East Media.
Yeah, it was funny talking about to Louisiana Tech some, because nobody really asked this, but I did in my one-on-one with Coach Cumbie from Louisiana Tech. I was like, is it cool to, because you get all of those Louisiana games and, all of the local stuff. I mean, their schedule is interesting just as a side point of, they play Northwestern State, I think is the name. It's, right next to Ruston. Then they play LSU, and then they play the Louisiana schools in conference. So it's, so much of their schedule is, a gas tank to get to. But talking to them about, the former Conference USA rivalries and getting to play ODU and Marshall again. And he was joking about it, but he was like, there's still some people down there who don't like Marshall from back in that day. So that'll be fun to see them get back into it. Maybe that'll bridge the gap a little bit.
Tyler Kennett's with us, HD Media. He's had a fun few days. So now you got a travel day coming up. You're going to get back here to Huntington and probably sit down, decompress a little bit, and then get to work, if you haven't already, on a lot of content coming out of Sunbelt Media Days.
Yeah, we've got 4 or 5 hours worth of interviews to transcribe. So that's what we're working on, flying back out at 8 tomorrow morning. So we'll get back around noon, drive from Cincinnati, and sit on the couch for a little bit.
Tyler, thanks for doing it for us. We appreciate you. 3 days in a row, you almost have co-host status now.
Yeah, make it happen.
I'll make it happen. I can't promise you pay, but we can make that happen. You can just come in every day and sit down and we'll talk. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time, as always.
Of course.
That's Tyler Kennett, HD Media. Looking forward to a lot of the stuff he's going to be writing about and sharing from his time covering both the East and West Division media presentations. We'll get your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Now that Wendy's has these new biggie deals, everyone in the family can get what they're craving, from nugs to JBCs. The parental units can get an $8 biggie bundle. The eldest who think they're so grown can get a $6 biggie bag. And the little one who can do no wrong can get a $4 Biggie Bites. You know, assuming they have a credit card. No, I'm kidding. We take cash too. $4, $6, and $8 Biggie deals for the whole family. Only at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
Here's another Kinder Communications community chatter. Ashland's Hope's Place Child Advocacy Center is having its annual fundraising cruise on the Belle of Cincinnati. On July 25th, the theme is Anchors Away. Boarding will begin at 6:30. Cruise will include raffles, 50/50 and other prizes, and an oyster bash. For information, call Hope's Place in Ashland.
This Kinder Communications community chatter brought to you by BrodyandAsh.com, Century 21's top realtor since 2015. Proudly serving West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky.
Hey, it's Lex and Terry. K&B Pest Control, locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the tri-state.
Man, these guys are great. They do residential and commercial, indoor, outdoor, free estimates. These guys are the best, I'm telling you.
This is when the critters come out. High customer ratings, satisfaction guaranteed, large fleet, crew, meaning same-day appointments, and quick service.
All you got to do is pick up your phone and call Patrick, the owner. Okay, that's what you got to do. Or Becca. They're standing by to take care of you guys. It's knbpestcontrol.com online, and give them a call, man. They got a great Facebook page. Go ahead and like it. They got a phone number. We'll give you that. Why not? It's free. 304-523-4281.
Or go to knbpestcontrol.com. They will tell you what everything looks like, what you're looking for, if you're getting a pest problem, and get on top of it. They're the best. Make sure you call Patrick once again, who is very passionate about his pest control, or Becca. K&B Pest Control. They'll kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Hometown Chevrolet is your home for the new 30-mile-per-gallon Chevy Trax SUV with 0% financing available. They also have 0% financing for a full 5 years on new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s. Plus, no payment for 90 days and free oil changes for life. Their used vehicles are priced to move with the payments you want. From low APRs to credit rebuilding, they've got you covered. Together, let's drive. Hometown Chevrolet, Waverly, Ohio, the heartbeat of America. Everything you need right here at home. Offer ends 8/3/26.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Black Sheep Harley-Davidson, freedom, power, and the open road are calling. Your dream is here. 408 4th Street in Huntington. Online at blacksheephd.com. Patriot Rentals and Supply. Build better, rent smarter, where the tools for success are right at your fingertips. In Patriot, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kathleen Eubanks-Ming with the American Academy of Family Physicians. Bullies use power, strength, or popularity to hurt others emotionally or physically. And while you can't be with your child all the time, there are ways you can help. If your child encounters a bully, tell them to get to a safe place and tell an adult. You can also show them how to block online bullies. Teach them they can be more than a bystander and that they can help their peers. For more on bullying, visit familydoctor.org or talk with your family physician.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's our final segment for today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. I do appreciate it. I'm going to be back with you tomorrow for our Friday edition, probably not with Tyler Kennett from HD Media. Appreciate him for checking in all 3 days right before the event, of course, covering the East and then covering the West. Hopefully in the upcoming weeks, we're going to have a lot more to talk about as we get closer to the start of football season. But that means for the next couple of days or at least a couple of weeks, we've got plenty of time for you. Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. If you can't join us today, definitely do so tomorrow as we get one step closer to the start of football season. We've got one more day to go until baseball returns to ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Pirates are going to be at the Guardians tomorrow night. We go on the air 6:45. Talked to the boss today. He hasn't known what to do for several days without having Pirates baseball to fill his night. He gets his life back, and I'm sure some of you do as well. Pirates back in action tomorrow, taking on the Guardians. We'll have first pitch at 7:10, 6:45 is our airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. The Cincinnati Reds are going to be at the Rockies on Friday, and that's going to be an 8:40 first pitch. And then, for those of you that kind of got a little addicted to the World Cup, third place game is Saturday, 5 o'clock in Miami, England versus France. And then the World Cup final Sunday, 3 o'clock in beautiful New Jersey, Spain versus Argentina. Winner takes the ugliest trophy I've ever seen, but a coveted trophy nonetheless, the World Cup trophy. Coveted by all nations, including several fans in the United States. You know, I look at that thing, I was like, that's it? That's the World Cup? That's the World Cup trophy? That? Really? It's not as elegant. I mean, I think if you look at trophies in general, for me, America's Cup for one. The America's Cup, the Sailing Cup, that's a beautiful trophy. You know I'm going to say the Stanley Cups, but I'm going to not disappoint you. Stanley Cup's a beautiful trophy. You know, the Lombardi is what it is. I mean, if I'm looking at trophies, I'm like, okay, at least the World Cup trophy has a little bit more artistic value than the Lombardi. I get it. NBA, kind of same boat there. World Series. You win the World Series, man, and that's a trophy right there. Baseball does it right with the trophy. I'll give them that. We're done. That's the show. Thanks for being a part of it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.